We are officially ready to pull this motor out and give it the reseal that it deserves. Forgot to buy a couple things. Gonna need to verify what's going on with the the air compressor, because the AC above about 1,000 RPM cuts in and out, in and out, in and out, but at idle, it'll stay cold just fine. So I don't know if it's just a tired clutch or a pressure sensor somewhere. And when I bought it, the guy said it had a slow leak, and he said it leaks out about every 6 months. And I charged it the day that I bought it, and it still has cold AC. So I put the dye in it, and I've looked with my black light, and I cannot for the life of me figure out where the leak is coming from. Don't buy Amazon LEDs. One's going out and just driving me crazy. And we got Derek in the background grinding on something, control arm maybe. Vice Grip Garage. I'll pause that while we're talking. But we've got everything here to mostly get the engine resealed. I already did plug wires, plugs, distributor cap and rotor. I already did the throttle body gasket, so I'm not going to take that apart. What else did I do? There's a bunch of stuff that I didn't order because I have it in my shed in the backyard, like intake and exhaust manifold gaskets. I have a bunch of those in stock, but you can see our water pumps leaking. We have a slight leak at the back of the head here on the head gasket. You can see that. It gets a little wet there, so I'm guessing the head gasket's leaking a little bit. And, well, we got a bunch of stuff to rectify that, so we'll start off on the parts list. Brand new head gasket. We've got a rear cam plug, a new idle air control valve, because this one, it just doesn't like to idle at all. We got, what is this? That's the vacuum whatchamacallit thingamarod for the brake booster. Is that even hooked up? Yeah, okay, it is. Check valve for the brake booster, because why not? New injector O-rings, fan clutch bolts, water pump itself. We've got a temperature bypass board just because it's a 92 and it needs to have it 86 to 93. Might as well do it so I can get the correct readings. Even though I have an actual gauge, it would just be nice to do it. We've got some, what is it, the rear main seal. New head bolts. I'm actually doing new head bolts while I'm doing a head gasket, believe it or not. I've learned my lesson on Scotia. Not doing that again. All new hose clamps. New, what are these? That is a IAC hose. It's a rear heater hose, radiator hose, another IAC hose. Nope, that's the expansion hose that goes from here to there. Don't know what I got this for, but it came in the box. Sure I can find a use for it somewhere. Actually, that might be the fuel return. No, I have no clue. I have to look at my parts list on my sheet. This is the breather that goes down from the PCV box, which I already replaced, or your, what do they call it, the charcoal canister? No, they don't call it that. That's down here. What do they call that? I'm drawing a blank. Oil separator. This goes from the oil separator down to your oil pan. And you want to change these if you ever have your oil pan off, rip out the old one because they get hard and crack and they can clog the oil pump. Get a new one of those. IAC hose, yes. Another heater hose, yes. Alternator tensioning bracket and bolt, just because I'm sure this one's rusted and I don't want to have to fight it and break it and be without it. It actually looks fine, but I'll replace it anyway. Keep the old one as a spare. And all the little bushings that go for power steering, AC, alternator. Throw all new bushings on it. Because what all did I do to this car? So, like I mentioned, I think I did, I did, that's not even sitting in there. Actually, I'm pulling the motor out. I don't know why I just did that and fixed it. Did cap, rotor, spark plugs, and wires. I did intake manifold gasket, throttle body gasket. I put new belts on it. I have yet to change the oil. I put a bottle of seafoam in the crankcase when I bought the car, and still haven't changed the oil. Just been letting it break down any sludge or whatever that's going to be in it. Well, we've got some nice either T5 or T6 Rotella over here. T6 1540. That says 540. That also says 540. Uh-oh. That says 540. Where the hell's my 1540? Did I buy the wrong one? I bought the wrong one. Guess I'm returning that oil. I only need one anyway, because these are 5-quart bottles, I believe. Yeah, nope, 4 quarts. I guess I can change Scotia's oil, so I'll return those and get 1540. But I know I did that, and then what all did I do? That fuel pressure regulator looks new, so I'm not going to replace that. I put a new air filter in it. Looks like it has a new master on it already, so I'm not worried about that. Trying to think of what all I did. I do need to get a new, go back to IPD and get the relocation kit, because this barely wants to sit on the flame trap. So I'll have to fix that. Other than that, I think we're just gonna start ripping it apart and getting to it. So see how far I can get. It's currently 11 o'clock at night, and I'm hoping to have this motor pullable by 1:30 in the morning. We'll see. She's sitting a little higher now. That is my first time pulling an LH 2.4 motor. It was a little different. I wasn't really up to par with all the extra wiring that had to go into this thing. Kind of threw me through a loop. But it's out. Oh, just barely missed the tail shaft. Had to drill out some spot welds on the core support to get that out. And then had to rip out the condenser because I planned on replacing that anyway. Ripped that out. Ripped out the old broken blower fan to the condenser that had broken blades on it, so that's going in the trash as well. But as we're looking here, I was trying to get the fan off, and there was one bolt in there that was just being an ass and would not come out, and it stripped on me. But if you're gonna do a motor pull on a B230, B23, pull the harness with it. It is by far so much easier to not have to pull the intake manifold, pull all this extra crap off, pull off every single thing around the alternator and then unloop it around, this, that, and the other. Just unhook your ECU, pull the wires through the firewall, throw it over the motor, disconnect your coil and whatnot, and be done with it. Looks like I ripped the ground wire in the process. Forgot about that guy. Oh yeah, disconnect your firewall plug. Other than that, I mean, yeah, that's all there is to it. AC discharged that, or recycled it, I guess, the correct way, which is, high pressure port until it's empty. Same with the coolant. It's out there somewhere. I don't know. But now you can see a little better. Oh, well, hold on. Let's see how far we got into Derek's video from start. An hour and 40 minutes. That's how long. Oh, I guess an hour and 30 minutes. Because I did do some cleanup. Wash the floor a little bit. It's about an hour, 30 minutes to pull the motor out, start to finish. The entire exhaust is also out of the car. I didn't realize there was nothing holding the exhaust except the exhaust manifold itself. So the second I disconnected the manifold, the whole exhaust just fell to the ground, and it was still connected at the bell housing. So had to snip those 2 bolts off. Then it was just dragging, so I figured I'd just rip it out the car so I could push her back out in the driveway. And what I might do when I put this back together is just unbolt the cat and that whole section there and just bolt the manifold back up, drive it to an exhaust shop and have them do a custom exhaust. Because you can see here the resonator is deleted, the muffler fell off 4 days after I bought the car. And we don't want a catalytic converter anyway. I mean, we've got, 90 horsepower. Factory was 114. We need all the help we can get, so we're going to get rid of the cat. But back to this, we can kind of see where she was leaking from. A little bit back here. I did clean this when I got the car, and I did the valve cover gasket just to see if it was leaking. And you can already see some seepage coming out of that rear cam plug. So you can tell it was leaking all down here. Like I said about the head gasket, it would leak right around there. You might even see a little seepage in there. But there was no mixing in the coolant or in the oil, so it could just be an exterior leak. See a little bit more there. I've got some weird smudges on the camera I'm not liking. Try to fix that. That should be looking better. But motor mounts were okay. Replacing those anyway. I believe the oil pan leaked, or it just might have a really bad rear main. I don't know. I pressure washed it pretty good when I first got the car, but obviously not because it's still leaking all this crap, and I pressure washed all that. Moving around here, let's see. I don't even know what that is, but I disconnected it at some point. Oh, overdrive. That's what that is. I don't see anything else obvious. There was some weird heater lines running to this thing with some valves and whatnot. I don't know what that was about. I've never seen that. I've heard people say it's to keep the car or the heater getting hotter or something. I don't know, but we've got brand new hoses, so we're not going to run the valves and shit that they had on here. I'm just going to go back to the normal way. I did forget a replacement dipstick O-ring. That sucks. That's an O'Reilly's parts run though, no big deal. But other than that, need to get an AC compressor. Need to get a bolt for the back of the power steering pump there because you can see it's missing. And it's kind of cocking the power steering pump that way. Kind of flex it. Get that fixed. But I'm going to lay this down on a tire for the night. Rest a couple days. I've got some bruising. My back hurts. It was a long hour and a half. But we'll come back into this and I'll undress the engine, pull the transmission off. I'll probably pull the transmission off, pressure wash it, and throw it on the stand first just so I can flip it over and change the filter and the pan gasket and do the accumulator mod on it. And then set the transmission to the side once it's all done up. Also need to put up the bypass, the solenoid bypass from IPD that I got. There's no leaks on the tail shaft housing, so I'm not worried about that. So I'll do the transmission first. And then, obviously undress and unbolt everything now that it's out of the car and it's easier to do without bending over that heap. So, we'll come back at this in a couple days. Well, for y'all, it'll be a couple seconds. See you then. On to the undressing portion. I'm about to pull the transmission off, but before that, to get to the short converter bolts, The easiest way I've found to do such a thing is to remove the oil pan, and that'll give you better access to the flex plate bolts. So you can just come at them with a impact instead of doing the side ratchet, which just doesn't work. Just keeps spinning the flex plate. So I'm gonna pull the oil pan, give that a good visual inspection, and I can just come at the bolts straight on. So we'll see what happens there. Well, now that the pan is off, looks pretty good inside. No sludge or anything. Just good old oil. Trying not to touch my phone too much because it got a white case on it. Very stupid of me. But looking up in here, we're looking pretty good. This is that hose I was talking about. You can see how this is very hard. And if this ever cracks, pieces of this are gonna drop down into here and it's gonna get sucked up into here, which I have yet to look inside the oil pump. And it looks pretty good. But see what I'm saying here now, I can get better access whenever I rotate this down to here. I've got better access to these bolts to just impact them off. See how this oil pan, yeah, that's an original Volvo multi-piece oil pan gasket, so I doubt that's ever been changed. It's just quite surprising that it's coming off without fighting me too much. The old puzzle piece oil pan gasket. And it's been degasketed, that's it. Usually I've got to scrape them off and wire wheel them, but that came off pretty easily. Looks pretty good up in there. All right, so let me go give this a nice pressure wash and set this aside and start working on the transmission. All right, it works surprisingly well. So we'll grab the next guy here. Bring them right. Not really centered, but enough to where I can grab the next bolt up there when this one's ready to go. So we'll take this guy. Drop him next to the other one. Don't forget our washer. 16, rinse and repeat. Give it a little spin. Oh, I'm gonna have to do this with two hands. No, I'm not. Yeah, I am. Okay, we got the guy off, nice and easy. All of our teeth look fine. Torque converter is now ready to pull. This is gonna be a two-handed operation, but I know I'm gonna spill some, and that's okay. Whoop. There we go. And we spilt a little bit. How's that seal? Put her out of gear. I can't tell. But I'm sure it's fine. The fluid, on the other hand, is pretty dark. Not as red as I'd like it to be. All right, chill out. So now I'm just gonna prickety prick, scoot the transmission out there and pressure wash all this out. Get it nice and clean. You'd think I'm dripping blood, but I'm dripping transmission fluid. Let's keep it going. We've made it thus far. We've made a mess. But as my suspicion, you can see the rear main seal is leaking. And I'm sure the oil pan gasket was too. Kind of surprisingly, the starter does not want to come out. I guess she's staying there. There's no bolts in it. I'm sure it's probably been in here. I mean, it's a Bosch. I highly doubt somebody replaced it with a Bosch, but if they didn't, this is the factory starter that's been mated to the block here for, what's that, a 92? So what, 60 years, if my math is correct? Something like that, who knows? But I was pondering the idea, since I'm wanting to automatic swap Scotia here, put it back to an auto, just because the manual's not fun. And I was also pondering the idea of throwing the manual in this car. It's just an idea, but I feel like with all the goodies this car has, and for how complete it is for just a cruiser, a manual I feel like would make it a much better car. Because for me personally, a manual and a car like that, you know, the boost lag and having to build boost between shifts, it's not fun. But when you're in an NA car, you're not really, you know, fighting boost. You're just fighting the lack of engine power that these have. So it's a lot more fun to cruise in an old car that's manual. And that being said, my AW71 that is in the shed has been getting tossed around for a while, and you know, I've broken the lines off of it just because it's hard to tuck it somewhere without it sticking out, because I haven't pulled the lines off because I'm stupid. But that being said, if I was to put the AW71 back in that car, I've got the cross member, the transmission pan, which I believe my dipstick tube is bent from the moving of it 30 times since I've moved to here and having to relocate it around different areas of the house. And so it leaks from the dipstick tube. And I would have a whole transmission pan here, plus the lines, and the drive shaft out of this car, obviously. I can't remember for the life of me. Well, no, I guess it would work, because when I put the AW71 in that car, I had to change the, the drive shaft to fit the newer style AW71, because it's a 95 automatic, and it didn't fit my 84 drive shaft, so I had to use an 87 or 88, maybe an 89 something drive shaft in that car when it was auto. So I still have those parts somewhere in the shed. If I were to do this, I really don't feel like digging for them. And these are in much better shape. And I've already got all the bushings and stuff. So I guess drop down in the comments if I should manual swap this car and put this one back to automatic and just kind of swap the guts between the two. But obviously not use the AW70, use the 71 that I have. But as far as that, I'm still making progress here. I think I'm done for the day. I've torn down most of it. I think what I'm going to do next is run this over toward the end of the garage and pressure wash all this, clean all this up. And then I'm really hoping that the actual seal here between the gasket, between the rear main seal housing is fine. Just because every time I've replaced one of those, they've always ended up leaking. And I've got a few laying around if I need to, but I mean, I could always do the same thing I did to Scotia, was put the gasket on, put the housing on, and then just RTV the fuck out of this so it could never leak again. But first things first, I need to get this rear main seal swapped out, then I can put it on the stand and start working on everything else. So that'll be the first thing done, since you can't really do that when it's on the stand. This guy's driven past my house 4 times already, but I think we'll pick this back up tomorrow. This is my little pressure washing bench now. Got the exhaust hooked up just so I don't get any water down into the head. The second this is all pressure washed, the head's coming off anyway. I just want to get all this grime off as much as I can. So whenever I do have the head off, I can just wire wheel all the hard, crusty stuff. but this is going to be good enough. I've also got towels stuck down in each cylinder and the exhaust over it. And then taped up pretty much every port accessible. Still got to do the throttle body, but I probably won't even get up in there because the blade's shut. It's not going to go up and then in. Really not that big of a deal to me. Doing a little cleanup, trying to. Left the oil pan off last night, and that's what dripped. But learning new stuff on how to organize your bolts. Put all your torque converter bolts back where they're supposed to go, as well as your flex plate bolts, and you'll never fucking lose them. What a concept, right? Got some more parts. Timing belt kit, some front main seals. I had to order a couple more things like some oil pump seals, a dipstick O-ring. What else? I don't even know. Most of the other crap I got's already in the shed, like motor mounts and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get to town. I was gonna change the rear main seal, but I'm just gonna do that last because I don't have the gaskets. I'm waiting on those to get here. The front and rear cover gaskets. I'm just going to take them off and replace them like I did last time and just goop around the edge with RTV. It seemed to work well on this car. Hasn't leaked at all. And then put the new seal in. So I'm just going to pressure wash as much as I can reach everywhere and everywhere. Transmission's nice and clean. You always do that. Transmission's nice and clean, ready to be wire wheeled. And I think I've decided against manual swapping this car. Just put the automatic back into it and send it on its way. I'll put the auto back in this some other day. I just want to get this car done and out of here. So let's get to it. Got the oil pan all painted up. Nice and clean now. Got the exhaust off. About to pull the head off. It looks pretty clean in here. I think that's because I ran seafoam in it for about 400 miles, a whole bottle of it. And I'm guessing that's why the oil pan was so clean. This side's a little dirtier than this side. But, you know, this is the side that it drains on, so that makes a lot of sense. Oh, well, I guess there's drains there too, so maybe it doesn't make sense. But I'm going to rip this head off and we'll see how clean these cylinders look. So far, this is looking to be a very healthy looking motor. Judging by the head, looks very nice and clean in there. Maybe a little lean on this cylinder, but not too bad. Just put the spark plugs in maybe a month and a half ago. But just as I suspected, the head gasket was leaking right here. If I get that micro element, yep, right here. Causing a little seepage to drip down all right here. So it wasn't an internal leak. I don't see anything that shows it was leaking into the combustion chamber. There's a little crack here, so it's probably leaking here as well. So just a small external leak on the head gasket coming from the coolant jacket out. So not too big of a deal. Nothing like Scotia's head gasket. Let's see if she'll come off in one piece. I know she won't. Well, it just might. It's kind of feeling like it wants to. Need a little persuasion in the corners. There we go. Wow. You know, this car's starting to amaze me more and more that I work on it. Every gasket has come off in one piece. Oh my goodness, wow. Just like that. There it is. Yeah, okay, so I guess there's two spots then. One right here, and then right here. But I'm just amazed that, you know, all the gaskets have come off in one piece. Put that up there with you. There we go. The, what else? The oil pan gasket, that's what I was talking about. Oil pan gasket came off in one piece. Didn't have to jank with it too much. This is where it was leaking out of the water pump. Somebody had RTV'd a little bit here on the seal, trying to help it, but when these get hard like this, there's no saving them. So we'll have to get that fixed. I don't think I'm gonna have to resurface this head at all. It looks very good. I don't see any rust or anything that I'd see on any other heads that I've done. I mean, I might... No, that's coming right off. A nice scrub, clean it up a little bit. I think this will run just fine. It's not like it was overheated or anything, so I see no point in resurfacing this head at all. Just give it a nice clean, throw a new head gasket on it. I think I'm done for the night. I'm gonna go wash up now that the garage is somewhat clean and the oil pan gasket's painted up. I've gone with this Farm Implement Red. International Harvester Red. All the reds that I've done in the past have seemed a little bit too orange, and this one seems like a nice, well, on camera it looks orange, but if I bring it down to like right there, that's what I'm seeing in person, is this dark red. So that's what the box is gonna be. And I'm curious, is this, can't tell if that says 90, yeah, it's a 92 block, original motor, 92 car. As far as the transmission, I have no clue. I don't know, there's a date code on that. If there is, I can't see it. No idea. So it also could be original. It's a damn good running car, so I don't see why it wouldn't be. The oil pan's all cleaned up. So this is my stopping point for the night. Tomorrow I'll come in here, rip off the accessories, rip off the front, rip off the starter and the new breather box I put on, alternator, all that jazz, and strip this motor so I can prep it, sand it, prime it, paint it, and start throwing the water pump and the new seals and all that stuff in here, and all the new bushings. I may as well replace this just because I have access to it. It's not bad, but it would be nice to have a new one and to not have to fight it to put a new one in, because they are a bitch when it's against the firewall. Trying to get this bolt in and hold this at the same time, it's a bitch. But other than that, see you tomorrow. Gotten rather messy in the workbench department, but we're swapping out the oil ring seals here for the oil pump pipe. You can see here the drastic difference in just the, well, and how thin these are. Compared to the new ones. Quite a big difference. Do I have macro control? No, I don't. Okay. The other one's still in here. Fish that guy out. And this one's actually a little bit warped on the edges. So it's a good thing I was replacing these. They're a little hard, you know, compared to how squishy these are, but might as well do it while it's out and then clean out this as much as I can, throw it back together. Got a little bit further, ended up fucking that up somehow, don't know. Rear main seal is in, front crank seal and lace shaft seal is in. I've currently got the automatic transmission fluid cocktail going on in here. Let this sit overnight, see how much it leaks past the rings, which hopefully it doesn't too bad. Oh, where'd my light go? There's my light. Now, this being a 92, I was hoping it would be a late 92 and have squirters, but it unfortunately does not. It's a non-squirter block. But took off the oil pump and took off the transfer tube, replaced the 2 seals in there, and actually sprayed a lot of brake cleaner inside and shook this guy around, and a bunch of crap came out of it. So that's pretty good. Now it's nice and clean. Got the new PCV tube in. Nice and soft. Kind of just looking at everything. I'm gonna let this sit overnight, come back and clean up whatever's left. I've noticed this is also an R block, which so is the motor that's in Scotia. The one in Scotia is a 92 or possibly a 93 R block as well, but it was a turbo. So obviously it had the didgeridoo, the oil drain. That's what I'm trying to say here. But I don't know much about the R blocks. I don't know if it was a special casting or something, or I know there's a K block or something like that. I'd have to look. Or no, I don't think Scotia is an R block. I think it was the squirter block that I had was an R block. The motor that's in Scotia should be a... Man, who the fuck knows? I don't know. I pulled that motor out of that car, and that motor's been in so many different cars at this point, I have no clue what engine's in that car. But I know it's a B230 FT. That's all I know. I'll have to look back at my other videos to see if that is a squirter block, but I highly doubt that it is. But yeah, we're gonna let this cook overnight and finish, I guess, doing the head. So this is gonna be the last of this video. It's gonna be a long video, so the next one y'all are gonna see is gonna be the assembly of all this crap. Going back onto the engine, oil pan gasket, timing belt, hoses, head bolts, etc. Getting all this crap cleaned up, new bushings, stuff like that. So y'all just got to see the extremely lengthy teardown. So enjoy that.